Paul Pan, now 14, can still vividly remember how Chinese police barged into their house church and harassed his mother when he was only 6.
And I remember my mom, 2 or 3 policemen catch her and try to draw her away, and she tried to stop them. They noticed that she didn't want to move, so they catch her feet and take her with them.
Paul says he was not afraid then because he knew his parents would be released in a few hours. As he grew older, however, fear began to creep in.
I have that fear that someday they might be taken away and me and my sister will go to other family's house.
Paul is now more concerned about his father, Pastor Yongguang Pan. The pastor led the Shenzhen congregation out of China in 2019, taking them to South Korea in pursuit of religious freedom. This resulted from increasing threats against the church because it opposed revised religious regulations in 2018 imposed by the communist government. Those regulations included limiting appointed place of worship, who could serve as leader, and where Christians could legally evangelize.
Government authorities came and threatened my landlord, ordered him not to extend our lease, and forced us to leave. They posted police right outside our residence, and I was being followed. Police stopped us in the middle of worship and ordered us to stop meeting.
The police took me, Pastor Pan, and a brother in Christ whom the police beat up. Police persecution was becoming more serious, and we felt the space where we can live was becoming smaller. Our only hope is that our family can live in a place where we can worship God and teach this to our children, for them to freely worship God their whole life.
After 2.5 years, however, the South Korean government denied the 16 Mayflower families asylum. They then fled to Thailand, where they are seeking refugee status in order to apply for political asylum in the U.S. The Mayflower Church believes that they are like the Israelites in Exodus whom God brought out of Egypt. Most Christian churches in the Western world support this idea, but the Christian churches inside China think otherwise. Pastor Tim Conkling, who is closely assisting the Mayflower Church, explains the two contradicting views.
The Chinese house church Christian has a self-identity of being a patriotic martyr. They're willing to suffer and be martyred for their faith. So when a group decides that they're going to leave persecution and martyrdom, that creates some tension in what has become a cultural and a religious identity of the entire house church Protestant movement in China. However, if you study the book of Acts, the Apostle Paul fled persecution as well. American Christians who have a tradition and a history of religious freedom and an understanding of the people and the principles upon which their country was founded, they understand the history of why the Mayflower Pilgrims left and then came to the United States, and so they would be in support of people who would leave their country because of religious persecution to try and find a country where they could experience religious freedom.
While church members still face restrictions and potential deportation, they enjoy the freedom they have to worship.
I struggle with many uncertainties in my heart like most of my congregation, but we find strength every time we experience how God has been faithfully providing for our daily needs and how He is constantly protecting us from the evil men who want to harm us. Whether we go live in the U.S. or be taken back to China, we will regard this experience as listening to God's call and continuing to be a vibrant testimony of His goodness and faithfulness.